What is my hair doing? I washed my hair last night, and it's like, I hate washing my hair because it does this like fluffy thing. This right here and this back here. It's like sticking up and I can't do anything about it. Because I don't own any combs. There are no combs in this room. Okay, so I'm gonna try this new thing, this new way of filming videos. I'm gonna just talk. I thought of an interesting topic this time that is relatable. So we're gonna give this a go. The topic that I'm going to be talking about today, or trying to talk about today, is anxiety. So I was in therapy for about 4 years, maybe more like 3.5. But I never really brought this up with my therapist because we mostly just talked about my relationships with people. Let's talk about that. Well, mostly my anxiety got really bad when I moved to St. Paul for college. As you can see, this is my lovely dorm room. Christmas lights, got my hat, my wardrobe is open. It's a nice room. The floor is nasty and dirty. So what started happening, like the minute I moved here, like even like I was staying in a hotel room for one night because we got here a day early, but my mom dropped me off here, and I spent my first night here, and literally I spent the entire night just like crying in my bed because I was overwhelmed with anxiety. 1, I missed my friends. 2, I didn't know anybody here. Like I knew nobody. Like if you can count to 0, that is how many people I knew. But so yeah, so I didn't know anybody. I was overwhelmed because I'm like starting my life. Like I go to a music college where your career starts the minute you start school. So it's like I had to start working on how I write songs because I am a songwriting major, so writing songs is important. I had to do a lot of theory classes, and I had like all these classes, just like theory, songwriting, keyboard lab. I had a MIDI class that was 3 hours long, and it was like the room was really warm and the lights were off, and I fell asleep all the time. And on Fridays, I had choir, and like an hour after that, I had my guitar lesson. And then immediately after that, I had like this artist and industry seminar that I slept through every single time. The bottom line was, I was completely overwhelmed. I had no one to talk to, no one to hold my hand through this. This is my first time doing something like totally this big, like living away from home. Like I live 6 hours from where I grew up. I was talking to one of the counselors at the school, and one day it wasn't even our meeting day, it wasn't our meeting time, like she was just getting to the school, and I was just like, I was having one of those anxiety attacks, like my hands were clenched up, like when I get anxious, like the palms of my hands tingle, my legs were really tense, I was like, even when I was sitting down, like I was on my toes. There's just this like feeling like in your head, like when I get into these things where it's like I feel like I'm like leaving my head, like I'm no longer attached to my body, like I am partially up here even though my body is down here, and sometimes it feels like part of me is like falling, and it's just it's a disgusting feeling. So I'm going to talk about what my kind of how I deal with that. One of the main things I did was I got some friends. My roommate left the first week, and that's about when some of like the bigger panic attacks started because I was living here by myself. I got a new roommate. His name is Caden. He's pretty cool. So I got some new friends. Like the day before she left, I met some new people. Namely, I met my friend Rachel, who I don't even know if she understands how much she helps me. It's hard to explain exactly how she does it. She doesn't even do it on purpose. I don't even understand it all the way. I got some friends. Some really good friends, too. my like friends I could talk to, friends who would listen to me, friends who would understand me, and that was like the first step, but that didn't solve the problem. Now I had something to distract me just 40% of the time. And so then there's still like 60% of my time I was spending in this room watching Netflix because I just didn't want to be social 100% of the time. There was my schoolwork, and I've never been very good with schoolwork. I've been terrible at it. I have failed so many classes. I've failed so many tests. I had such bad experiences with like math class. I thought I was bad at math. I recently discovered that math isn't that bad. Like I really like it. I just hate numbers. And people don't understand that. But whatever. Second step I did was the guidance counselor, she helped me organize my schedule. So we wrote out all the times I would have classes on each separate day, and I would always have these really long breaks where I would just not know what to do because my friends were in class and I didn't want to come in here because I would just be lonely and anxious. So we set that time aside for all of the homework that I had. Well, somehow organizing my schedule just did something in me that just kind of made things more clear about what I needed to do. And so I was occupied almost all the time. So eventually what happened was I would get these nasty panic attacks while I was hanging out with people. And I mean, that's happened before. That happened sometimes in high school, especially with people I would date. I would get these I would like throw up sometimes. I just got so anxious about being with people. And so I made like this, not even like a rule, like this policy that if I'm feeling anxious before I hang out with people, there are certain things I have to do before I can like leave my room or leave the dorms or the school or, leave the places I'm familiar with. And one of those main things, this is a weird one. I have mints. Just eating a mint. I've never understood why this helps, but it does. I just eat one mint, and sometimes if that doesn't help all the way, I drink something. Like my favorite is just like Arizona iced tea, or sometimes I'll make lemonade, or I try to avoid hot drinks. It just doesn't help. But that's just me. I don't know. I can't eat. If I have eaten recently, I need to stop and not eat anything. Like I said, I sometimes throw up if I'm anxious enough. And especially if I've eaten recently, it'll all come back up. So to avoid that, I can't eat. And if I eat, I get more anxious. I'm weird like that. Sometimes what also helps when I'm about to hang out with people is I watch a silly YouTube video. My favorite are Tiger Productions. They do a lot of compilation videos of just animals doing weird things, and my favorite ones are like watching animals eat or the weird noises animals make or just things like that. And those are the things I have to do if I'm feeling anxious before I hang out with people. Because if I don't hang out with people, I'm alone and anxious. But if I stay with my friends and I'm not prepared for my impending anxiety, I will not be able to function, I will not have a fun time, and I'll probably ruin the time for everyone because I will need to come back here and do those things before I can go back out. So that's what I do. If anyone who watches this happens to have anything they'd like to share about their anxiety, or how they deal with it, or if they want to ask questions or leave me comments, make me a response video, like, I don't know, look me up on Facebook or Twitter, and just like let me know how you guys deal with things. I guess I'll put a link to my Twitter below. Facebook I'm a little bit sketchy about. I don't usually add people I don't know, but I don't know, you can try it. I might be having one of those days where I'm like, friendship. So that's my video about anxiety. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And I hope that you all behave yourselves and that you all make good choices. 숨을 것도 찾지 못한 나는 피하려고 애써봐도 너무조차 할 수 없는 내게 갇혀버린 사랑이었다.